And we're back again, the Yeah Buddy Experience podcast. I'm your main man, Mike.
I'm Johnny.
I'm Eugene.
And today we are, how can I put it? I'm fan womaning, I'm fanboying the other day, now I'm fan womaning it. But we've got an awesome guest today. We've got Maria Hippolyte. She is a badass stunt woman. And just to name a few of the lovely pieces that she's put her hands to, her moves to, we've got Avengers, we've got Black Panther, Justice League, and that's just to name a few. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys doing?
I'll say this, it's no relation, is it, Michael?
I don't know. It's weird because I asked my auntie the other day and she was like, maybe spend some time doing a little research. So I'll do some research because I don't think the island is very small and I'm sure we are related somehow. So I need to figure out.
Probably, but there is another Hippolyte that I came across and we're not related at all. So
okay, well, there's quite a few. I've come across. So I'm hoping that we are related somehow. It'd be nice
we all are. Listen,
yeah, we all are.
You go back far enough, we all are. So
it's true.
That's that. We're all one people. I mean,
it's
how it goes. I'll say this now for the viewers of the podcast. I am drinking red wine, and I know when we usually do podcasts, I'm drinking, but I've just had spaghetti bolognese, and it goes well with it. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, I could have had some wine with you. You got to tell me.
You get some wine if you want. Get some wine.
You go grab a drink if you want. It's
That might become a different interview, though. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem because we had that last time. We were drinking on the podcast we did, and before I knew it, we went down some roads that I played it back, and I was like, I don't know if we can actually hear that, and I don't even think we aired it in the end. I still got the file on the computer. So we said some stuff that I'm sure would get yourself in trouble, and I don't want to get myself in trouble. Good podcast. But that's fine. So probably best way to go is if you tell us about yourself. What's your backstory? It'd be nice to know who Maria Hippolyte is.
Okay, well, I started off when I was a kid. I was doing gymnastics. So I was always gymnastics and dancing after school. So always very, very active. I went and did a performing arts course. So learning acting and singing and so forth. It was like a BTEC national. I think I'm going to show my age if I say that.
We're all old-timers. It's fine.
I did have a leading question to ask to try and work out your age.
No. We're not going to go there.
We're not sharing ages. This is a great game we play, sharing ages.
No, it was. No, I'll let you carry on. Go on. We'll get into it.
And then I trained as a professional dancer. So I went to the Northern School of Contemporary Dance.
Okay.
Trained there professionally for like 3 years. Got my degree, and then I toured as a dancer for maybe a year. And then I did the Millennium Dome show. So I was part of that new generation of circus performers who had never done circus and been trained up to do this big show. So I ended up doing that for a year and a half. And then I was basically had a circus act that me and another girl would do. And it was 2 black girls. So we were the only, there's like 3 black girls out of the whole circus community. So that's a good maybe 50 odd circus people and maybe only 3 black women. So we had this act that we got to tour around America. We went to the Commonwealth Games and performed for the crowd that was coming out of the games to keep them entertained and to keep them, the atmosphere up after the games. So I was doing like circus for probably like 12 years.
Long time.
Going to festivals and promoting this act, and the last show that I ended up doing was called Batman Live. So that was that big arena show, and we toured all the UK, then we went across most of Europe, and then we went to South America and North America. So I got to travel and see a lot of the world at that time. But all the time I was always wanting to do stunts. That was always in the back of my mind. But at the same time, I'm from East London. Mum didn't have that much money. We didn't have that much money. So I knew it wasn't going to be an easy road to go down because it is a very expensive thing to do for all the disciplines that you have to get. It costs money, So, so I knew my route wasn't going to be as easy, but, you just wait your time and see how it goes. And then I did a stunt show in Germany, which I won't go into too much about because it was really bad. But it was that you're like, okay, things need to kind of change. So it's that moment where I was like, right, I'm gonna training for the register. But once I kind of set my mindset on it, like 100%, this is what I want to do, I started getting the extra days that you need like 60 extra days. So I started to get those kind of jobs, which gave me more money. So I was like, right, what are my easiest disciplines? So then I basically did like my gymnastics, my high diving, my trampolining, because I still had all my acrobatic agility. So I got through those pretty quickly. So then I just set my mind on just getting my disciplines done. So everything else kind of just was out the window. It was like nothing else was going to take my attention. Nobody was going to take my attention. I'm just going to dedicate all my time to getting my disciplines and really go tunnel vision on it and train as hard as I can and as quickly as I can. So I didn't want to be doing it for long. So all in all, it took me about 2.5 years to kind of get all my disciplines together and and get on the register. And since then, it's been pretty good, pretty amazing, if I must say.
You've had a busy.
Pretty good, please. I was on, yeah, come on. I was on
Pretty amazing.
Instagram and I was just like, wow, look at this place, look at that place. And I was just like, your pictures are amazing. Even the videos you've got on there, I was just like, the fight scenes. I was just like, this is insane, absolutely insane. And it's quite funny. We've got a friend in common, we do.
Who's that?
So my buddy Obi.
Obi, yay!
Yeah, I know Obi. I've known Obi for I think it's 9 years now.
Okay.
And he shows me some of his videos, and in the background, I see you doing movements in the background. And then I checked on the stories, and I was like, "Oh, cool, small world." But that's cool. But Johnny, I cut you off. You was going to say something.
No. I was just going to say, literally, I was just watching some videos earlier on IMBD, and the test performance, I think, was it Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman, yeah.
Yeah. And jeez, like that was
That's amazing.
I was just thinking, wow, okay, this is amazing. Like, it's just to be able to speak to you, because it's just a random coincidence. Because I didn't know you were going to come on the show until obviously Michael was saying that we'd managed to hook it up, which is brilliant. But I think a couple of weeks ago, there was an article in the paper about gladiators. Do you remember gladiators?
The gladiators, yeah.
There you go. And it was saying, where are they? Yeah, it was saying, where are they now?
Yeah.
And so there's going through all of the gladiators, and then there was the lady Eunice Hutt.
Yeah,
if you remember her.
Yeah.
And then how she went to Hollywood and she's a stunt woman and had all this success.
She's coordinator now. She's going to be working on the new Flash.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, she just done the last Star Wars, so she blew up. But she's amazing to work for as well.
Yeah, so I was thinking. So I thought to myself, like, because she was a contestant on Gladiators.
Yeah, I remember seeing her.
Yeah, done really well, and then she's doing what she's doing, and I just thought to myself, that's an amazing. I wonder how that goes and how it works, and then 2 weeks later, we've got you on the podcast, and it's just like, now I can find out how it all works.
I mean, to be honest, it's different for everyone. Every time we get on the job and you start talking to people, especially if you're on a film sets, you have long days, and they kind of like to leave stunts to the last minute unless it's a big action and everything else. So you get time to really sit down and talk to people. And if you hear some of the backgrounds that people come from, it's all walks of life. You've got people from the army who have been like special forces coming in and doing stunts. You've got people that were like, no, I was just a nurse and I just thought it'd be cool. I've got like dentists, one of my good friends on there. She's like, yeah, I was a dentist. And I was like, oh, it's a bit of a random one to come into. So everyone comes into it from so many different areas of it's not even performance, just every walk of life, put it that way. That people get involved in it, but they're like, no, I just always wanted to do it, so I just thought I'd try and train, and here I am. And you're like, oh, well, fair play to you. You trained, you got on the register, and you're working, you're doing what you wanted to do. So
when you say the register, what's that called?
Oh, it's the British Stunt Register.
Okay.
So so basically it's kind of it's regimented. You have disciplines that you have to do. So it keeps everyone working under certain guidelines. So in America, they don't have this system. So you can go and train or don't train, but you can kind of say, yeah, I do stunts. And then you can, if you get onto a SAG film, I mean, they hustle differently. They basically give their CVs to stunt coordinators, or they try and sneak on set and hand in their stuff so that they get seen. Like they hustle. They just straight up hustle for work. Whereas over here, because we have the register, all the stunt coordinators are given a book with everyone who's registered. So you get a page, you put all your disciplines on, you put what you've done. Normally when you knew you've done nothing, so you just put all your measurements and your skills that you've passed. So then when a job comes up and they need a 5'3" black girl, they're like, oh yeah, oh, there's Maria, you know, and then they'll contact me because I have my page and they'd see what I've done and what I've trained in. And then after that, it kind of works word of mouth. If you've done a good job for someone else, they'll be like, oh, I have a job. Do you know, can you recommend someone? They're like, yeah, you can recommend this person. They were really good, still a bit new, but blah, 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 blah. And that's how you kind of build up a reputation as well within the industry. But yeah, with the register, it makes it just more regimented.
Is the register is the register sort of like a union and like a agency at the same time or something? Is that how it works?
It's potentially a union, but it's just agency. Yeah, it is kind of, but it's like all the members are all stunt coordinators and stunt performers. It just makes sure that as a unit, you know who you can reach out to. You don't have to go to agencies to find someone. They're all there, you know.
That's quite cool.
Yeah.
I was recently, I've seen a couple of prominent black guys or actors or whatever they are in America complaining about English actors going over to America and portraying different roles. And what you were just saying there about the Americans kind of like hustling their way onto the set to try and give their information over to try and get the jobs and stuff. And then seeing the films that you've been involved in, like major, like epic Hollywood motion pictures, it's kind of, do you find that because you're on the register and we have the you're able to select people that have got certain disciplines and skills, and it's all there for everyone to see, that you guys over in the UK might get more work than said other people maybe?
I guess so. I did, when I was in America, I did get that comment, well, we know you've trained. We know you've trained as stunts. But I did say to them, listen, I just registered, so I got on the register 6 months prior to going out to Black Panther. So I was very green. I didn't know anything, put it that way. Wonder Woman was my very first job, and I got that just through a friend. So I hadn't really done my disciplines yet. I only got my last discipline after I did Wonder Woman. But so I actually said, well, I've done all my skills and everything, but as in experience, you know, I'm still very green. But they're like, no, we know you trained and in the UK, so you know you're going to do this. So I got to do a lot of the gags as well on there, and I got to do one of the major fight scenes on there, which was really cool. But yeah, they made that comment, and it was kind of the feel that they wish they had that system where you know they've got guidelines that people can follow and answer to and be like, okay, yeah, you have done this, so we know you have some experience, whether it's a lot or a little. We know, you know, roughly where you're at, you know. So and I think it helps. It just helps keep out a lot of the crazies, because you do get that as well. People
crazy.
They think stunts is literally falling on your head. You're like, no, there's techniques to landing. There's techniques so that you can get up and repeatedly do it. Because
so similar to wrestling to a degree, in terms of it's rehearse, and then we then act it out on stage, or in your case, in a film. The question I had is, so say in certain fight scenes, we use Black Panther for an example, if you do a certain routine and you kind of go, I don't really like the feel of that doesn't seem like it flows well, are you able to then voice that and say, you know what, I think it works better like this, and then you try it and they go, what? I like that actually works quite well. Do they give you the opportunity to do that, or is it very much of, this is what you're going to do, that's just what we've asked for you?
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. It depends on who the fight coordinator is. Some people are like, nope, they want it like this, and you go, fine. And some people like, it looks a bit weird, and you're like, well, it feels a bit weird, can I try it like this? And then some people are like, yeah, cool, like exactly what you said. But it depends on the coordinator, and sometimes they just, or the director's like, nope, I like it like that, and you go, okay, cool, bit weird, but okay. So yeah, it's what's the
Mixed bag, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a taste thing. Whatever they want to see, how they want to see it, you just go with that. So you have to be very flexible, and you can't take everything personal. It's not about you at all. A vision is about what they want.
It's what we want.
It's what you want to see.
It's what we want.
And go, no, well, I don't like it. I want to do like this. They'll go, okay, we'll get someone else. It's not about you, you know. So some people, they do get a bit upset. You're like, it's not your film, you know. You have to remember, you're just a potential prop. Yeah, you're a cog in a wheel, you know. So, and they can replace you like that. So you have to be flexible and just take things on the chin sometimes, because it can be pretty brutal. But
something I was going to bring up later, Michael's just mentioned it there, wrestling. So I mentioned earlier that I got twin girls, my 8-year-old twins, and they landed on Sky Sports yesterday, and WWE Raw was on, and they started watching it, and then obviously you've got to tell them they're actors.
Oh, did you tell them that? You don't spoil them.
No, listen, it's not the Father Christmas conversation. It's wrestlers. So, you know, you just don't want them to hurt themselves. But is
wrestling... body slamming each other.
Have you ever considered that? Is wrestling something you might want to do in the future, or?
No, I used to watch it. I used to watch it as a kid. I think it was WCW used to get over here.
Yeah,
so
WCW, WWF.
Yeah,
back in the day, good stuff.
Yeah, I used to watch all that, but it wasn't appealing to me at all. It was always like watching the A-Team or something like that. You know, when you have those car stunts where the car rolls for like 5 rolls and they get out with a dizzy head, and you're like, huh? Like nowadays, you're like, no way, you'll be knocked out or whatever. But the stunts that were in it, and like Dukes of Hazzard and all those type of things, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I've always wanted to do stuff like that. So I wasn't really a fan of wrestling to be like, yeah, I want to do that. Nah.
Well, I don't think you missed out on that, so you'll be fine. But saying that, I wanted to touch upon Black Panther. That's what I wanted to touch upon. So how did you get the call for that, and what was it like being in Black Panther? Because for me, it was such an amazing film, and just the feeling that I got and family and friends got from watching it, it was just amazing. It showed Africa properly for once on TV.
I got recommended by a friend of mine who was working on Doctor Strange with the fight choreographer Jonathan Isbay, and he basically reached out because he said that he auditioned a lot of black girls in America, but there wasn't that caliber, and they were I think auditioning for a couple of months. So then they were like, well, we have to go outside of America and see what else was out there. So he was contacting all his contacts, and then I basically got put forward, I think, by 2 people, and I just had to do a little fight with a spear. And I didn't have much experience, to be honest. I knew a little bit of wushu style type bow staff. So I just put that together, sent in any other stuff that I did. And then I got the call to come out and audition. So basically they flew me out to Atlanta for probably like 24 hours, flew me out, did the audition, came back. And then at the time of the audition, I picked up a little injury. So I was like, it's not going to go too well. So by the time I got back on the plane, I got the same, the stewardess that was there when I came in, they were on their return flight. So she was like, oh, how did the audition go? And I was like, oh, no, I think I blew it. I think it was bad. I don't think I got the job. I don't know. She's like, all right. She gave me a little champagne, cheered myself up, and that was cool. And then a couple of days later, we got the call that, we've been selected to be one of the Doras. So I was like, oh my God, I got the job kind of thing. And then it was like, are you happy about shaving your hair? And I was like, what? I got to shave my hair? And that was only like my biggest concern. I was like, oh my God, I got this job, but they want me to shave my hair. And I was like texting all my family and friends, can I want me to shave my hair? They were like, Maria, I'll buy you a wig, I'll get you a hat, everything came back, and I was like, all right, so I just need to go out there and do it. So then, January 1st, on January 2nd, we flew out and we started filming. And it was very intimidating because you think, oh, America, you know, and I'm like, it's Marvel. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I've got to be on my best behavior. I've got to be like, you know, with everything. Yeah. So I had that mindset to be like, I'm from England. I got to represent England and, you know, there's some people in England and just be on point. And then, basically a week in, I was like called onto set to double straight away and pick up choreography. And I was like, okay. So pretty much thrown into the deep end again, but it was really cool. Had an amazing time. The team were amazing. The other Doras, I mean, you know, we ended up all having like shaved heads, so we kind of bonded on that level. And just working with everyone. It was a totally different feel working with a lot of Black women than it was from Wonder Woman, where you're like probably like 5 Black women out of like 30 odd women, you know, to be surrounded by more Black women. You're like, oh.
Was that a moment for you guys? Is that something that you talked about on set and that you brought you closer together and made it a bit more of a moment in your life? Because like Michael said, with us watching it as fans, because we've had all of the Marvel films, and yes, you've got superheroes, and even though superheroes aren't real, they don't look like us. And then all of a sudden, even though we've got the comics, but not necessarily if you were into comics or not, you wouldn't know about Black Panther, maybe not. So then when we saw him on the big screen, it was just like, whoa, okay, here we go. And then, like you said, with all of the Doras and everything else, the traditional dress and the accents, not rubbish accents, like African accents, okay? And I was blown away by it. The girls love it. Everybody loves it. So for you to actually be a part of it, you've been part of like a seminal moment in, I think, movie history. So were you aware of that at the time, or was it just a job at the time?
It was a mixture because it was a Marvel. So you already going, okay, it's Marvel, it's a big deal. I don't think I was expecting it to be as big as it turned out to be. I think we definitely knew we was doing something very special. Just looking around and seeing all the costumes and everything else, that was just like amazing. There's a part, the waterfall scene where we're all doing our dancing and stuff like that. When they weren't shooting, the drummers would just start drumming. And then there was one woman who was a dancer. She would just start dancing. So we'll all just, you know, while they're resetting, we'll be like having a little jam session. Letitia would get on the mic and just start spitting. You're like, whoa, what is this? And, you know, Ryan, director's just like, oh, you know, the atmosphere at times was just amazing. That's the best way to describe it. It was like a family coming together. And, you know, like with Chadwick would never drop his accent when he would like throw parties and things like that, because he's like, we need that. We need to kind of relax and remember, you know, to enjoy life and things like that. So every couple of weeks, he would throw a party for everyone to bring everyone together. So you're getting to meet people in the office that you don't normally see, you know, coming in and just having a good old time. And that alone brought us all together. So by the end of it, it was like we were a family. So with him passing, it's
a tough one.
Yeah, really tough.
No, I get it. For me, as I said, for me going forward, watching any film now that represents Africa or showcases Africa, it's very hard to actually get the same feeling. And I say that after watching Coming to America too. Don't know if you guys have seen it yet.
Not yet.
I watched 20 minutes and I sat there and I felt so let down. Because you watch Black Panther and you're like, boom, Wakanda. I felt strong. I felt empowered. I felt strong to be a Black guy. And then I watched Coming to America and I just felt, wow, they let us down. Stupid jokes, lack of understanding, not representing the countries, you know, the motherland properly, not representing the movement. And it just seemed really, really sad in comparison. And I think for me, the bar set here, and it's now for other movies, other actors and other directors to now step up to that part. Yeah. And if they don't do it, then what's going to happen is you're going to have people like myself and more people that watch the movies saying that this is not good enough. It's not good enough.
I think,
so it's a tough moment.
Black Panther 2,
Mhm.
is that something that you're going to be involved in at all?
I'm not 100% sure.
Drop it, just say it.
No, it's
No, the
because
NDAs, man.
I've got
Just throw it out, it's fine.
I've got other work, so it's
Okay.
you know, yeah, we're not going to talk about that just yet, but we'll see what happens there. But
Talk about
So
what
is
the
there
other
a number
work.
2 happening?
Pardon?
Is there a number 2 happening?
Yeah, it is happening. They have been
Okay.
in contact, so
You,
we'll see
you
what
said
happens.
you said earlier that it was you get an awful lot of work through recommendations and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it, you recommend me.
Okay. You're ready to wear a boob tube or something, then for sure.
Listen, I don't mind shaving my head.
Yeah, you got that, Daz. That's one. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But
Okay.
yeah.
Go on, Eugene.
Yeah, no, I just want to know because I'm just like, yeah, such a big like Marvel fan, and like, yeah, just to know like the inside of like on the set and stuff like that. I just want to know like, what's the scale like between? Because I see on your IMDb also in like the Endgame and Infinity War. I just want to know like what's the scale? What's the scale between the two? Is it different like between like the Avengers movie and Black Panther? Are there differences or are they really similar? Like,
I mean, there are major differences because Black Panther didn't have the same budget. So to do what he did on that budget, I mean, I think he doubled or tripled what they put in, whereas Avengers they were pretty much unlimited. So you're like, oh, all right, we got money to spend, it's fine. You know, you're like, oh, okay.
Was like the atmosphere? Could you say like it was like a whole family thing during Black Panther? Did you get that same kind of thing during the Avengers?
Well, we wasn't on Avengers for that long. We brought in for like a couple of weeks to shoot the Wakanda scenes. But I think Endgame is when it really kicked in for me. When when we all arrive at the portals, so when you're seeing all the Avengers there, and you're just like, oh my god, there's Captain America, and then you're like, oh my god, and you're just like, stop looking. So being around that and seeing everyone and Robert Downey, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this got very real very quickly. So being a part of that whole scene was awesome. That kind of solidified everything as to the whole journey from Black Panther and Infinity Wars, and then like being with everyone on that set was just yeah.
And everybody was nice. Were you completely separated from the Robert Downey Juniors and the Chris Hemsworth? Is it Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah.
Or was it his brother?
No, it's Chris, isn't it?
It's Chris Hemsworth, yeah. So do you need to are they part of the coordination? So when you're rehearsing the stunts, are they there? Do they have to be involved to understand what you guys are doing?
No, it depends. If they have a stunt, then they are there and their doubles are there, and then they'll they do what they can. But if it's a scene where they're not required, no, they're not around at all. Okay. It was just that one scene where everyone had to be there. That didn't happen very often. I think that was the one scene where you've got everyone from Wakanda, from Thor's to like Spider-Man. Like we walked in in our single files. It was so weird. We were so regimented as Doras. We did it even when we weren't filming. So we walked in with our spears and we just like trotting in. We've walked past Spider-Man. He's gone, whoa, my God. And he's looked back and you're like, oh yeah, that's Spider-Man. He's more important than us, but we'll just keep walking. Kind of thing. But even he was like blown away by just us walking in. So yeah, that was a really cool experience. But no, like I said, just being on that set with everyone there, that doesn't happen. So
it's definitely an epic scene. You mentioned about the doubles, doing work with the stunt doubles. And although you were a Dora in this film, are there any films that you've been in that you've been a stunt double? Have you done double work before?
Yeah, it's a mixture. I mean, getting the Dora role is not common.
Yeah.
More when you do stunts, you are doubling someone, or you're being the one that falls down the stairs, you're being the one that gets hit by the car, and you're very rarely seen or featured. So on that, I am classed as an actress because I'm featured a lot of the time and not as stunt, because I'm not doubling, even though I did double Lupita on the opening scene. But yeah, she was amazing. So I'm not sure which clip they used, whether they used her or me. But yeah, she's an amazing mover. They're like, damn, all right, woman. Like, she's really, really good. So I would double her every now and again, but I was mainly there as a Dora, and that wasn't an acting role. But yeah, like I said, normally you will be doubling someone, actually. So I doubled Lupita on 355. And yeah, it's a mixture of everything, really. But it's very rare that you get featured that much.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what's the long-term plan? So are you planning to then get into being a coordinator there after this, or is it just carry on doing stunts and stunt work?
For now, I'm just building up as much experience as possible. I've only been on the register now. I've only been working for like 4 years. So there's still a lot more for me to learn. And then I basically see how I feel. I know when you're a coordinator, there's a lot more experience, there's a lot more responsibility involved. And I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. I know I kind of enjoy performing and just not having to think about that type of stuff. But yeah, something that's in the back of my mind for sure. But I know I need a lot more experience and a lot more knowledge underneath my belt to even consider other areas. But I do like camera work, so that's always been in the back of my mind as well. So I always kind of watch what they do, how they envision things, and just how they maneuver on set and things like that. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, so when you say camera work, you mean in front or behind the camera?
Behind the camera.
Behind the camera, okay. Yeah, because I suppose you obviously get the opportunity to do a lot of networking, and when you're watching the actors, like you said, it's the perfect opportunity to watch everything. And take it all in.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's what I love to do. So even though you're not meant to hang around on set, there's an opportunity to hang around on set, and I'll just watch what people do, even how the director how he directs, how he works, what he envisions, and how everyone else tries to make that vision come to life, the work that goes behind it. I watch all of that. So it makes you more of a knowledgeable performer. So when they put a certain lens on, you're like, oh, they're going in tight, so they're only going to see they're going to see this much. Oh, they're doing a long lens, so they're going to see everything. So you start kind of adjusting before they've even given you directions. You kind of know where you should be, or what they're going to be shooting on, or what they're going to be focusing on. So I think it helps you as a performer just make their life a little bit easier when they don't have to tell you too much.
Yeah, I think one thing I'm looking forward to see what the difference is, because I think it's on the HBO, the Justice League, the Snyder Cut.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they've said that obviously it was filmed widescreen, but when it comes on HBO on the TV, I don't know what you call it. Eugene, you can tell me. The vertical. So you actually got the black bars on the side coming down.
Okay.
Rather than having the widescreen where you have them horizontal, top and bottom.
All right. They probably shot it. I'm not too sure with like with Justice League, but they might shot it like an IMAX or something like that. So it's a different kind of format to like standard film, really. So they probably shot it like differently for the big screen.
It'll be interesting to see what that looks like, but no, it's good.
How's work going at the moment, Maria?
I'm good. I was pretty busy last week. I was just saying, just traveling down south a lot, pretty much every other day. Saying I've been on the M4 pretty much most of last week. Ridiculous, but and then I was just on Top Boy, which is very, very local. So shooting around East London, so that was nice, having jobs where it takes you like 10 minutes to get to work. So yeah, I was very busy, but now that's all done. So yeah, I have moments where I'm jobbing around, going from a TV series all over, like from Casualty to Top Boy to what was it called again, Embankment, to Sex Education, which was funny, but that was in Bristol. So yeah.
So you said Top Boy. So there's a new season coming, because the last one, actually all the Top Boys have been good. I like them. It's good. So there's a new season coming out, and it's got most of the normal characters that we had before.
Yeah, as far as I know, I've only been brought in to do a lot of the driving scenes, so I haven't seen every. But yeah, That's all I know. So every time I come in, like, I need to drive this, and yeah. So
with the driving, so is that I don't know what you would call it. Do you have to qualify for like a super license or something like that, or stunt license?
There is a driving discipline that you can do. It's very expensive, and you have to get like what's it called? I can't remember, but you do have to get a specific license for it, and you have to race, and you have to basically win those races and things like that. So that's a really expensive one to do. Rallying, like say you do rally, rally driving. But speaking with a lot of the actual stunt drivers, that one is yeah. You don't really get much work if you've got that one. They want precision drivers. They want drivers who, learn how to really control the car. So yeah. Speaking to a lot of the drivers, they're like, no, it's not the really best one to do. But there's different courses now being developed by the stunt drivers. So that should be coming out and being more accessible to trainees now, which does apply to more stunt work, what you're asked to do. Because a lot of stunt driving is, like I said, precision work. So if they want you to come in and stop on a certain mark, you need to be able to do that every single time. It's not, well, you got it then, but you didn't get it the next time. That's what they mean by experience behind the wheel, knowing how to control that car, knowing you can do it every single time. And I think rally racing is not the one to get you to that point. You have to always be doing something else to get you to that point. And that's years of training as well, years of experience.
Yeah,
so they'll get like the Stig coming in and doing a lot of the driving. So
you've seen him with his helmet off?
Yeah, I've actually worked with him.
Who is it? Different ones, isn't it? It's different vibes.
No, you can look him up. He's really good. He's done a lot of the James Bond stuff as well. He's been coordinating the driving stuff on that as well. So I did a job with him, and he was driving what do you call it? His VW van, and I had to sit on a surfboard with wheels underneath it, being dragged along by this van. We shouldn't really say too much, but basically, a little accident happened, and the surfboard shifted underneath the VW van. So I basically had to jump off at like 80 miles an hour to save myself. And he basically drove over there. It wasn't anyone's fault. It was just we'd done too many takes on it, and it just gave way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was driving, but it was fine.
No, I was saying, does that happen quite often? Injuries? Because as soon as you said that, my brain filtered to a memory from the past, watching Jackie Chan films back in the day, and then you would have the outtakes, and you'd see, I think it was Police Story, watching Police Story years ago.
Yeah.
And if you see the outtakes and him falling down the escalators or buildings, and I'm like, bloody hell, and he did the stunts himself. So for yourself, have you been in any close moments to accidents or been injured while on set?
I've been injured. Even Wonder Woman, I got injured, and they kept the tape that actually injured me. It was funny. They were like, that was gnarly. I was like, I can't walk, but yeah, great. So basically, it's the big beach scene where you've got the horses and you come clashing in. There's a specific stunt that I was doing where I was running up to my German counterpart, and he basically launches me over his shoulder, and I hit the deck. And we done it good the entire time, and then we kind of had to move it down, and we didn't really line up properly. So when we came to do it, bit of a dodgy timing, and the stunt kind of went wrong, and my leg hit the ground behind my head, and I'm not that flexible, so my leg stops here, and then it ended up like over here. So I basically pulled my hamstring, but it was just so gnarly how it happened. They were like, "Oh my god, yeah, that's the one, silver balls." Silver balls is a good sign. It means they've got the take and they're moving on. So I'm like, okay, I can't walk. I seriously cannot walk. And then after that, it was pretty much, I'll just play dead in the sand until you can run again. So yeah, that was the one time. But yeah, a lot of people do pick up little injuries. That's why we do it, because we're the ones that, you don't want the actor to be hurting themselves. You don't want to hurt yourself, but you can be replaced. The actor can't. Yeah, so that comes with the territory for sure. And
I suppose so.
Some have been really bad. Some have been one of the guys in Black Panther. I met him on Black Panther. He passed away on, is it what's the one with the zombies?
Evil Dead.
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah. So you know it. Yeah, they
What
can
they're
go
on
horribly
doing on the job
doing
working?
stunt. Yeah, doing a
Oh,
stunt.
okay. No, I think I heard about that.
Yeah. He's a lovely guy. He was one of those really welcoming, very, very friendly, very guys to me. Like when you're coming from a different country, not everyone's gonna be nice and pleasant, but he definitely was. And yeah, that was shocking to hear that. But so it is dangerous. It's not to be taken lightly. And that's why I always, when I do talk about it, I do bring up these things because people think, oh, stunts is just fighting. No, it's not. There's so many other elements to it. So really, if you want to do it, really know what you're getting into and the risk that you're taking, you know? So yeah, they can be pretty big. So
yeah,
I can imagine. Because in my spare time, I write scripts and I'm trying to work on another film. We did a film last year and we're trying to work on another one. And we were talking, 3 or 4 months ago, me and Eugene, about a car scene. So we're trying to have an accident in a car and we're trying to work out what stuff you need. How do we replicate the stuff we see on TV, the big screen stuff, on a very, very small budget? And it's just, do you have any tips that we could take to create a car accident? It's a woman driving, guy's in the back, he jumps forward, grabs the steering wheel, and then she crashes into the tree. And then that's
a coordinator type question. Yeah.
Well, we're trying to chew you down that road. I am. Come on, I said to you the 5-year plan, the 6-year plan, I'll get you there.
You know, the best thing that, but in general, that is a coordinator situation. Those are the ones that will break it down, know how fast you've got to go or how slow, where you've got to hit it, where it's going to be safe, how to prep the car so that the stunt performers don't get hurt. They will put in roll cages, they will double the floor, like they will do other things to get that car prepped to hit a tree. So it's not as simple as you would hope for. There's a lot that goes into it. So I would genuinely
I smile at the same time because I'm just going, I sat down with Eugene going, oh, this will be easy, we can set this up, this will be fine.
Do it safely. To do it safely. No. So that everyone walks away. No, you wanna make sure everyone walks away. But the best advice I'll give to you is contact the British Stunt Register, email them, tell them what you have in mind, and just say, you know, how feasible it would be. Even if you was to get a coordinator in for the day, it might cost you a bit, but if you still wanted to replicate that and make it safe, it's worth it. But that's definitely a coordinator type question.
That's good advice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome advice. Because I was going to just say to Eugene, we just get a car and we just try it ourselves. But
the car. Don't you dare.
On the estate I grew up on, I'm sure I can find a couple of people that will do that stunt for you. But I would suggest you maybe use a matchbox car, film that, ram it into a tree, and then have the camera in the car as well for the actual in-car shot. Make it work that way. I don't know.
Don't do it. Don't do any of those ideas.
So we came back when we initially started talking about Top Boy, because that was one of my questions that I wanted to ask you. With the pandemic and the lockdowns and everything else, international travel and everything else, like how was work for you and all the projects that you've been doing over here in the UK? The work hasn't slowed down and everything's been
Everything's been good. Everything we've been cracking on because we get tested. So I got to travel with Mission Impossible and we went to Norway and Rome, and I got to go to Abu Dhabi a few weeks ago. But on those jobs, you're getting tested like 3 times a week and you're getting put in bubbles. And it's a bit frustrating at times, but you always have to wear a mask on set. You have to keep your social distancing. But they're making it work through the testing. And because we are testing so regularly, we're getting tested before we do any type of job. Every job we're on, we get tested prior. So even like on Top Boy, they were like, oh no, you need to get a COVID test. So we'll send someone out to you, test yourself, and then send it back. So they go into lengths like that to make sure we're safe. There's been a few outbreaks on a few productions, and they get closed down depending on what area it is. I know.
Was Mission Impossible? Is that you've stopped that?
They're still filming, but what I was doing is pretty much done for now.
Right.
Isn't it the same one with when Tom Cruise had a bit of a meltdown?
I wasn't there, but yeah, I heard about it.
I heard him shout Maria. I heard him shout Maria.
Wear your mask.
That must have just been on his brain, because I probably normally get into trouble. No, I'm joking. No, he's amazing actually. This next one is he's the real deal. He's definitely real deal when it comes to doing his own stunts. He's definitely real deal. He carries his energy like he's a stuntman anyway. We're at the beginning of the pandemic. I was on Batman, and Mission Impossible was next door. And because he knows Rob Alonso, who's worked with him, he's another second unit director. Tom would like flip between both productions, and he'll come in and just walk into our training area. And at the time, I'm a bit short-sighted, so I didn't recognize him. So he starts talking to all the other stunt guys. I'm like, who's this guy? Like, it's freaking Tom Cruise. And I look like, oh, it's freaking Tom Cruise. And like, just no, close your mouth, be careful, like, just watch what you say now, kind of thing. But he just like comes in and just chats with everyone like normally. It's not a thing. So for him to probably kick off like that, it must have been for a reason. But I haven't worked with him that much to know that. But
it happens in every walk of life, doesn't it? It happens in every walk of life.
Everyone has their moments, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know. So
exactly.
But yeah, he normally comes in and says hi to everyone. He makes sure he makes good eye contact with you. You know, he's like hi. I literally touched elbows with him. You know, it's one of those ones. So. But yeah, like I said, I haven't worked with him that long to be like, no, like he does that on a regular basis, kind of thing. I don't know, but
that's good. So what are some of the English productions on terrestrial TV, if you want to put it that way, that people might have, or you've done work on, like Casualty or stuff like that?
Casualty, Holby City. I did Doctor Who, where they actually featured my face, so I got killed by a Dalek, which was awesome. And then I did Class, which was a spin-off, so that was a few years ago. That's probably in my first year. TV, I think that's about it.
Was there Gangs of London as well?
Gosh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was just a riot.
Dropping it out there.
Oh no, that wasn't.
You're doing the research.
I had to fall down. Yeah, I had to fall down on something. So I don't know if that's featured, but
do you watch everything that you're in?
No, not everything. A lot of the TV stuff I know I'm gonna miss because I don't know when they're gonna be aired. But then I try and look up stuff on YouTube and see if I'm in certain clips, or people will post stuff and be like, Maria, we just seen you. And I'm like, oh, all right. So yeah, I do actually need to make a new show reel. So I need to start looking up all these stunts that I've done. But yeah, I just like to crack on and just do stuff, you know. Yeah, some people are like always posting, oh, I did this, I did that. I'm a bit hit and miss with that. Sometimes I feel to do that, but yeah. How
have you found the, did you say Abu Dhabi 2 weeks ago?
No, that was beginning of February, because I had to do yeah.
But how have you found the traffic? I mean, because I've not been abroad since this whole thing's happened. Michael, Eugene?
Just in the UK.
Just in the UK.
Yeah, never been abroad.
So you've kind of had a little bit of an insight into what life might be like, or potentially will be like, when everything opens up again, for traveling around. So how have you found it? Is it uncomfortable?
Well, the only thing I found really hard was sitting on a plane with a mask on for if you're like 6 or 7 hours. You know, that's the only thing that gets really hard. You just like, I just want to take it off and just breathe normally. And you just got to respect people who don't agree with not wearing a mask. So yeah, that's the potential. With what we do are very lucky. Like some of us would get flown around in like business class and things like that. So you do get the distance. So my experience has been very, very good. Can't look getting flown with Dabby in first class. I'm not going to go
champagne and
living good, right? Living good.
Yeah,
first class suite.
Yeah, so those are some of the perks that you can get, and sometimes you don't. It really depends on the production. Some of that we don't care. An economy, it can be a hit and miss. So when those things come up, I always take advantage and just go. It's a touch that. I'm in the first class seat and I get my own TV and my bed, it opens out into a bed and I can sleep, I do enjoy it.
Yeah, I've just seen it, listen to that going, wow, man, I would love that. First class, that'd be good, man.
Yeah, well, it was Black Panther that I didn't know this was going to happen, and I didn't really look at the schedule and realize that I was in first class. And it's only because my cab driver was like, "Oh, so what terminal? Where do I take you?" And I looked, and he goes, "Oh, Heathrow," and I was like, "Oh," he goes, "What your seat number?" I went 8A. He goes, "Oh, that's first class. So there's a different entrance to Heathrow." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yep, it's all right. I used to drive for them." So there's an actual different entrance that you go to, and it's all private. And I was like, "Oh my God." So I didn't even know I was being flown out first class. I was in the lounge. It was Virgin. So I was in the first class lounge in Virgin. And I was like, I could get used to this. But in my head, I was like, it's an audition. I'm just going to enjoy the experience from the get-go. So yeah, that whole just even being flown out for an audition in first class was like, they flew me out first class to go and audition for like 4 hours and then come back, It was crazy. But yeah, it gets like that. So when those things happen, I just enjoy them. I don't question it. I just say thanks and
take it in your stride.
Yeah,
Just
enjoy it.
Go on, Mike.
So then in the acting world, you have the Oscars, you have award ceremonies and stuff like that. For stunt work, do you have the equivalent? Is there something like that?
The closest we have is the Tourist Awards, which is specifically for stunts.
Okay.
Apparently back in the day it was more of a big deal than it is now, and with everything coming up, I'm not too sure. But I think we have the Emmys now that are looking into coordinators and giving coordinators awards and things like that, and people are trying to get it into the Oscars as it should be, as a lot of films that are getting Oscar nominated do have heavy stunt work in it. You've got people from hair and makeup getting Oscars and like stunt people and getting that, and you're like, well, I just fell down those stairs. I did hurt myself, but okay, So
then how would that be broken down? Would that be like best stunt man or best stunt woman or best stunt team, car chase?
I think that's where it gets hard to put it into categories. I think that's why maybe it hasn't, because it's hard to define, and you don't want people doing reckless stuff just to get an award.
Just to get an award.
Yeah. And we're meant to be the unseen heroes, I guess. So that's probably another reason why it hasn't been a category. And every time I go on set and I meet a lot of the older generation who've been doing it like 20, 30 years, I do ask them those questions. I'm like, you've seen it all. You've been in this industry from probably at the get-go, seen the evolution. How do you feel about Oscars? And there's a mixed bag. Some people feel and some people are like, no, we're not meant to be seen, and that. So it's a mixed bag of how people feel about it. But I think, we should be acknowledged somehow.
Of course, 100%.
We are part of the whole movie. So I just feel like, be acknowledged. You're putting their lives at risk, and people have died. So why not?
Exactly that. I'm going to say, what's in your opinion, what's the worst part of your job, and followed up with what's the best part of what you do?
I guess the worst part is the waiting around, because because what tends to happen sometimes is they want to shoot the stunt, but then they think, oh no, we'll leave that till last. So they're like, oh, we're going to come to your scene soon. So you get all suited and booted. If you're doing a gag on a wire, you start strapping up your harness all tight. You start getting all ready, having a stretch. And then they go, oh no, we're going to not do that scene right now. We'll probably do it after lunch. And then you go, oh, okay. You unbuckle, but you can't have lunch. You can't have a full-on lunch, because you got, after lunch, I'm going to do my gag, and I don't want to have a full belly and then have to get rolled up, and then you end up not eating anything because they've pushed it back to the last shot of the day or something like that. So then it becomes a waiting game. But then the best part is when you are doing stuff, and you, like, for me, I'm like, I get in like to kind of a kid mode. I'm like, I'm making a movie, you know. So I still have that kind of, all right, this is gonna be fun. I'm just gonna pretend, and you know, I don't know. I just get into that little. I'm making a movie, man. We're gonna have some fun. It's not. It hasn't reached that point where it's like, oh my god, I can't be asked. And I know some people that have been doing it for years are at that point, and they look at me like, what's wrong with you?
Forgive me for asking this. Can I ask this? What's a gag?
A gag. Oh, a gag is the stunt.
Right, cool. 'Cause I'm thinking, what's fun?
Sorry.
You a comedian out here now? What?
Sorry, no, it's the stunt. It's whatever it is you're doing. There's like, all right, your gag's up there. That's just the terminology that's used.
So what does it stand for?
Gag. Oh, I don't know if I broke it down like that, but it's just it's just a stunt. It's just
what it is.
It's
It is what it is.
It's the fall down the stairs. It's There probably is more behind it. I just haven't researched it.
So what's the biggest stunt you've had to do? One where you've kind of gone, "Ooh, this is tough."
There's one on Black Panther where I winded myself. That's funny. So there's a part, you know, when the rhinos come charging in. I'm meant to get hit by a rhino. So I've got a wire that comes from my back that wraps around my body. So when they pull it, I twist out like I've been hit and popped up into the air. And with those, you have to be on tension in a certain position. So my position was basically I have to be kind of hunched over, leaning to the right. If I'm not in that position when they press that button, how I come out is going to be anyone's guess. Yeah. So if you don't hit your mark or you don't hit the position properly, you're not going to land in the same spot. So one time I landed full on my back and there's like a rock. So there's like mats and there's like a rock, and I'll have someone behind the rock just to check that I'm okay. So when this time that I did it, I landed on my back and winded myself, and he's gone, "Maria, you're okay?" And I've gone, yeah. But I'm struggling to catch my breath. But that was a big stunt in it. That was a really cool one. But yeah, that was the one that made me chuckle at the same time. I'm like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Yeah,
have you done one then? Have you done one where everything's gone to plan, that you've done no problems, but when they said this is what we're doing, you've ever gone, I don't know about this?
No. Because sometimes you'll get asked to do something, and that's when I'll say yeah or no. I'll say, I haven't had that much experience. I try and be as honest as I can when I'm being asked about work and what I can and can't do. Because a lot of people, because they get quite desperate, they'll say they can do something, get on set, and then they'll mess it up or they won't do it. And then, you know, you've basically botched the job, so they can't do it, or the coordinator has to do it. And that's not what you want at the end of the day. Sometimes I've got people that, you know, they ask, can you do this driving sequence? And they're going, yeah. And then they get on it, crash the car or do something, and then the coordinator has to go in and do it, you know. Mm-hmm. So they don't want that. So I just try and let them know from the get-go what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of, and try and keep it as honest as possible.
Which I think is the best policy, isn't it? Because as soon as you said that, I was like, my head was going, wing it, just wing it. They say fly a bus, I'm flying a bus. They say drive a car, I'm driving a car. But I think your honest approach is probably the best approach to have.
I mean, on Panther, again, that happened. But because I kind of had an idea of what I could do, I kind of winged it. So there's a point where we're fighting Killmonger and we trap him up, and then he generates and we have a big explosion. So they wanted to film me flying through the air and landing. And I was like, how do you want me to do that? And they were like, I was like, oh, that's all the information I'm going to get. So in my head, I was like, okay, what could I do? What could I do? And there's a move in trampolining called a crash dive. So basically you bounce, and then this is my head. I go up and my legs go up. I do this and I try and stay as straight as possible, and then I crumple and I land on my back and bounce up. So it's a crash dive. So it looks like you're falling, but at the last minute you catch it. So I was like, right, I'm going to do a crash dive. So I was like, okay, this is what I need, blah, 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 blah. And then I thought I was going to get a rehearsal. So like, we're just going to rehearse it and see what happens. And the next minute they were like, no, we're just going to shoot it. So I was like, oh, okay, it's going to get interesting. See what happens kind of thing. But because I had a rough idea of how I was going to do it, it was okay. And they were like, yeah, we love it. Can you do another one? And then I was like, well, to be honest, I don't know if it's going to turn out the same. So I basically did 3 different versions, trying to get them the same, but they just ended up being 3 different versions. But he loved it. He goes, that was great. We love it. He's got 3 different versions to go from. And that was it. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, certain things you can wing it if you've got the skill to. But if they were like, Maria, we want you to handbrake around this corner and then, get the arse out and do it. I'll be like, no, I don't have that experience. But I won't try and wing that because all manner of things could have happened if I just tried to wing that. I could have taken out the cameraman or just gone off set and taken out, everyone else. So, yeah, there's certain things that you can and certain things that you can't.
It's, I think when I was, I don't know how old I was. It would have been young. But so we had I think it was a Volvo, I don't know, 360 or something like that. We're bombing it down this single lane, this country lane. And these are the things that you're obviously talking about, right? When you need to coordinate them. So I was just thinking, look, I've seen the films, obviously. So if I pull the handbrake up, I'm just going to skid in a straight line. No. Okay, so we pulled the handbrake.
Your facial expression is just, oh no.
The cars just span. We've landed in a ditch, so we're like kind of like sideways in the ditch. My friends that were in the back were laying on the dashboard, and then literally so jumped out. Boys will be boys. We've run off, whatever. But then, lucky enough, long story short, farmer came past, saw us. He had one of the toes.
Pulled you out
on the front, and he towed us out. But that's kind of like where I thought, okay, so physics is definitely a real thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's as much stunt work as I've ever done.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand, like, I'm trying to get into more driving now, and I was driving up in it's somewhere near Liverpool, but I met this amazing drifter. She's doing the driving in a mission, and she's basically drifting a Hummer on a dry track, which is just like amazing. So I was like, you're teaching me how to drive. So I did some driving with her, and the cars are set up with extra brakes. So you have your handbrake, and there's a second extra. It's called like an e-brake. So you're able to control the wheels and brake harder and better. And I still don't understand the mechanics. It's still very new to me, but cars are designed to move a certain way if it's for a certain stunt. So if you wanted to do that, you'll probably have an e-brake, which would apply more brake pressure, which would have stopped you quicker. And you have to look where your wheels are, because if your wheels are slightly turned, you're straight away, your handbrake up, but it locks up, it's going to spin out. So all those things you have to really consider when you're doing driving as a stunt driver, I guess. So yeah, the setup of the car is always different. Even on, probably shouldn't say too much about that, but even on Batman, they set up the car differently with added wheels so that it could do a certain maneuver, which I had no clue about. They were like, no, when we do this, we drop these wheels and they kick in, and that's what spins the car around. So like where you were just thinking, you just slam on the handbrake, maybe turn it, and does that. There's so many other little things that they do to the car to make sure it does that maneuver cleanly and safely.
What you're practically saying is, don't try this at home.
Basically don't. But at the same time, when you talk to them, they're like, yeah, we used to go in this field on this old what do you call it, runway, and we used to like set up cones and practice and all that stuff, but it's still in a controlled environment. So
have you did you just speak, because one thing that I know, obviously everyone knows the Stig from, is the hot laps on Top Gear.
Yeah.
Is that something you've ever done? Like, because
I would love to. No, I haven't, but I would love to. That is one of my goals. and to drive a Formula One car. I don't know how possible that's going to be, but
Well, that starts tomorrow. So you're a Formula One fan?
I know. I'm so excited. I
Up at
missed it.
6:30.
Yeah, I missed it. I got to go to the track in Abu Dhabi. So in Abu Dhabi, you get to cycle around the Formula One track there. So while we was there, we got to get on the bikes and just cycle around the track. I was like, oh my God, I'm on the Formula One track. So that was pretty awesome as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Who's your guy?
Oh, Lewis, of course, man.
Lewis.
Yeah, that would be.
Predictions?
Well, they're testing, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I think he's still got it in the bag. He's just such a clinical driver. He just knows his car. You know, he's got such a feel, such an eye, such a natural feel for driving. You know, it's something I think it doesn't come along often. For me, he's a mixture of Ayrton and Schumacher. You know, he's got that natural raw talent and the clinical mind to break stuff down and know what needs to be done to that car to make it faster. You know, so yeah, no doubt. I mean, I like Verstappen because I like his aggression, but he's just too hot-headed. He needs to kind of calm that down to get his driving up to scratch. But yeah,
I think the whole season will be quite interesting because I don't know, maybe 4-5 different driver changes, seats.
Yeah.
But then also about 2 or 3 new drivers as well.
Yeah. So it should be closer. I think it's gonna be closer than it was last year for sure. See what Aston Martin come with. That would be interesting to see what power they're going to bring to the table. Because I love their cars. You know, I think Aston Martin car is beautiful.
What car do you drive?
I got a Merc.
Hey.
You know, that's what. But I was an Audi fan for the longest time. I was like, yeah, as soon as I get my car and get my, I was an Audi A3. I was like, I like that style. It's sporty. It's a bit of a. And then I got given the Merc C-Class because I needed to hire a car, and because I know you wanted a Jag, but we didn't have this one. We got this Merc, and I was like, all right. And I was like, oh, it's a bit big, it's a bit expensive. And I had a job up north, and like I said, I'm a bit of a racer. So these Audi A5s come flying past me. I was like, all right, I know it's a rental, but we'll just see how it goes. And it just took off so smoothly. I was like, oh my God, I'm in love with this car. So I looked into it and then ended up buying a car. just that one. But yeah.
Go, Mike.
I was listening to you guys talk about cars. I'm not. Yeah, me and Formula One's never really been there. I've only just started trying to get into watching Formula One from the Netflix program they've got.
Okay, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's absolutely awesome. I can't wait for them to do the season that's coming up now. So I won't be getting up at 6:30 or 7 to watch the race.
There's a new season.
I'll wait for Netflix. Huh?
There's a new season starts next week.
Yeah, I'll watch on Netflix.
Isn't it?
Yeah, they were filming it. Yeah, I didn't realize they were filming this season, the previous season.
Yeah. So you know when Mercedes had that bad one when Lewis wasn't there and George was in the car, and then they messed up both of their what do you call it, pit changes. They tried to blame it on the Netflix. What do they call it? Netflix.
The camera crew.
Yeah, because every time Netflix comes into the garage, something major happens with Mercedes. So what year was it where Lewis got a flat or something, and he turned in quickly to the pit, and then he had like a 1 or 3 minute pit change because they couldn't get the right tires on and all that type of stuff.
Russia, is that Sochi?
Yeah, that was the one. So they called it like they jinxed it or something like that. So every time Netflix comes into their garage, something major goes wrong. So I think Netflix was in the garage when that all happened. I'm not sure. But yeah. So it should be interesting.
Spreading rumors, Maria.
I am spreading rumors. I don't care. They can bring it up. Like, what?
I believe you, though. I believe you. What is stunt work's obviously taken out a lot of. It's very physical, and the stuff you do. What do you do? Like, what's your training regime like? Gym work and food and diet? everything else.
Feed them a bit naughty at times, and sometimes that's just because you're on set and they have a place called Craft. So Craft is where you go and get little snacks, and sometimes they're not that healthy. So it depends on the production. And sometimes you get really good ones, so you get lots of juices and things like that. Training wise, I've been very fortunate because of lockdown to be able to train, because I'm still a professional working in the industry. So I do professional boxing and I do Muay Thai. So I just do one-to-one pad work, Muay Thai work, and then just boxing, trying to keep up my fitness that way, because the gyms are closed, so you can't go and do weight training. And then if that, a lot of my mates who are guys, they've got like weights and stuff in their garages, so I'll just go and train with them if I want to do weights and things, or we'll just meet up in the park and we'll just train together, because everyone's got different experiences as well, different disciplines. So in this case, we've just gone to the park and just train with each other, you know, and help each other out and do circuits and whatnot. So yeah, so that's pretty much every day. I've been boxing Muay Thai for most of the week. And because it's hard to kind of keep it up when you're working, especially where I'm traveling from driving down south, coming back up, and then going on to a next job. It gets hard to get into a regime when you're working, because everything gets thrown out the window. If you get call times, you have to be on set at like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's hard to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and train. Some people do it. I don't have that thing just yet. But so yeah, it really depends. So when I'm not working, I get as much training in as possible.
I was thinking who you remind me of, Maria, this whole time, and that it's obvious to me. I got twins all through the family. I got niece and nephew are twins, and you look like them. Big.
Do I?
I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, please do.
You look like Lola. But Samuel, my nephew, is an actor. He was the lead in The Lion King. So he'd done that for, I think, he did 2 stints. So I think it was probably 6 months in the West End.
Oh, what, the West End? Okay.
In the West End, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Right. Oh,
in the
okay.
West End. Samuel Brown. You might hear of him in the future, but yeah, he's doing some good stuff, and he'll be interested to listen to this podcast. And Lola's very active as well.
Okay.
I see a lot of you in her, man. It's quite funny.
Oh, nice.
But on that note, I was thinking, what advice would you have for any young or aspiring stunt person coming into the game? Like, where do they go? What's the best thing to do? What should they be doing?
First things first, make sure you're okay with taking a hit. Because some people think, oh yeah, I do stunts. And then when you have to take a hard fall, and they're like, oh, you're not going to have a mat. No, you've got to do it on concrete. Well, do you get pads? Well, your costume doesn't allow for pads, so you've got to do it without pads. If you're not happy about taking that fall, then don't waste your time. If you're okay and you're like, yeah, I'm pretty tough, I can take a knock, then yeah, get on to doing lots of martial art training, lots of acrobatic training, because you want agility, you want spatial awareness, and you want control as well. And those kind of take a long time to build. So as a very young age, because I did gymnastics when I was like 7, my agility has always been there, and I carried on doing circus. So going into stunts, the agility and the body awareness has always been there throughout my whole life. The refinement of my movement came through dancing, doing ballet. So learning how to control my movement in the air, I think came a lot through doing ballet and contemporary and, dancing. So yeah, and martial arts, you're building up just strength, discipline in your mind to push through certain things, because yeah, you're going to get challenged a lot, so you need to be disciplined within yourself. And that's just a skill that you need to have anyway. So if they're quite young, I'd get them into martial arts, because that's the one that took the longest to get, because you have to do gradings, and you can't do gradings every month. You have to do gradings every couple of months, or you might have to wait 6 months before you can do a next grading. So yeah, gymnastics and martial arts is a good start. If they're very young, they're like between 16 and over, yeah, that's the ones to start on. And then depending on what they feel they want to do. So I did gymnastics, trampolining, I did some high diving, and I did rock climbing, and I'm also a dive master. And so I'm also a black belt in Taekwondo. And yeah, those can take a while to build up and to get done. So yeah, but it's the gymnastics and the martial arts which can be quite hard. But you want to be able to pick up choreography, which is why dance is good, because when you're learning fights is choreography.
Yeah.
So it's good to, even if you're not a dancer, to go to a dance class every now and again and just try and learn a routine by them showing you, by not getting much time to practice. It's normally it's like, okay, we do this how many times? Now show me. You know, you want to get into that frame of mind where you get shown a few times, you're able to pick it up and deliver it. And that's a good way to kind of train your brain to do that as well. So if you've got time, like I said, if you're quite young and you've got time, then I would say start with those 3 at least.
Okay.
And then after a while, then you move on to the other disciplines.
And then in terms of the mindset to have, so we've got the disciplines, the martial arts, dancing, the different backgrounds. What about the mindset to have? Is it one of those ones where you've just got to be tunnel vision, but also open to whatever may happen, you know, flexibility and stuff like that on set, and just with anything they ask you, you've got to be just open-minded, give it a try?
I wouldn't say give it a try. It's more like know that you can do it, or, you know, your awareness needs to be on point. You kind of need to be having your ears on your coordinator and what the director wants and what he's trying to deliver, and kind of go, okay, this is what I've got to do. Learn to think for yourself and interpret and understand what they're trying to ask you to do. Because a lot of people go, yeah, I've got it. And then they'll do something completely different. And you're like, that's not what he asked you to do. So now you're going to get a bollocking because you didn't listen. So it's, flexibility is key. It's not to get trapped in what you envision, but how to interpret what you're being told.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to do it this way. Oh, right. But that's not what they want. So then when it's like, no, you have to go again because you didn't do what they asked you to do. And then it's like, oh, but I can't do it this way, so I'm going to do it like this. No, we need to go again. So you could end up doing like the same stunt like 10 times because you're not doing what they ask. So yeah, I think that's...
So what you referred to the body of stunts people that you're in. Like the register that you're in. Could you just remind me what that was? What it was called?
The British Stunt Register.
Okay, so the British Stunt Register. And then can you also give us a rundown of your socials so people can find you and see what you're doing and tell us a bit about what you've got?
My Instagram is better. It's Maria Hippolyte, /X. That's the best one to get me on. I'm not really I do have a Facebook, but I'm not really a fan of it. So my main one is Facebook and Twitter as well, and that's just @Maria Hippolyte. So they can reach me on that.
Brilliant.
And then we'll be looking out for you in all the films that you're in, right? I will be reading Black Panther again, going, wait a second, yes, I see you.
Maybe we'll see.
Yo, I'm on like a marathon of Marvel films. I just started like Iron Man last week, so now I'm up to Doctor Strange. So yeah, I think I'm in like a few more. Yeah, I just finished Doctor Strange yesterday.
You're not watching them in order?
No, I am.
That is the order, isn't it?
Yeah, no, wait. I started Iron Man last week, and then now I'm on Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll let you
Yeah.
So are you on Disney? You watching on Disney?
Yeah. So I got like a few more till Black Panther. So yeah, I'll see you up.
Is what's the one? Captain America: The Civil War. That's before Strange, isn't it?
It's right before, just straight before,
Okay.
No, we're watching them. We're watching them with the kids as well. We're watching them. We're all watching them. Love them. And Disney's is good for that, with everything in the correct order.
Yeah.
And even on the Star Wars stuff, they have, so whether it be a film, then a cartoon, and then a short series, and then a film, it has it in the historical story.
Yeah.
That's quite cool.
That's pretty cool.
Which is brilliant. So I do like that. But I think we've pretty much covered enough. I absolutely love that, Maria. And
thank you. It's been lovely talking to you.